Okay, this question is on the discriminant question. However, this question is a discriminant with two conditions. Okay, so where are the two conditions? So first of all, there is a description of the curve, and you should recognize that it is a quadratic curve. However, actually the first thing you should realize is you actually didn't know whether this is a smile graph or is it a set face graph, because of the fact that K is unknown. So we're not sure whether K is positive or K is negative. So the deciding factor is on the coefficient of x squared. So in this case, we are not sure. So we do not know whether we are dealing with a smile graph or a set face graph. So, but we know that it's going to be lying completely below the x-axis. So between a smile graph and a set face graph, only the set face graph can lie below the x-axis, can lie completely below the x-axis. For the smile face graph, right, it's not possible. So why is that not possible? You think about it. So even though you can draw like a smile face graph below the x-axis, but the truth is that it will still continue up if it's a smile graph. So in this situation, the only you should deduce that it is a set face graph that can lie completely below the x-axis. So the key thing is it is a set face graph because only a set face graph can lie below the x-axis. Okay, so in order for the set face to happen, which is the maximum graph, the coefficient must be negative. So that is one condition. And because the whole graph is below the x-axis, you end up with no intersection. There are no intersection with the x-axis, so you end up with no roots. So the discriminant is negative. So you need to realize that because it's entirely below the x-axis, it doesn't intersect the x-axis. That's why it leads to the conclusion of no roots and b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. So this condition is important. If you do not get this condition correct, your whole question is really not correct at all. Apply the discriminant by putting in the ABC. So most of you should be okay with getting the ABC. So A is equal to K, B is equal to 4, C is equal to K minus 3. So just put it in carefully, and it actually leads you to a quadratic inequality. So if you look, it's a quadratic inequality. So it should lead you to some shading. Okay, so for me, I prefer to, because if I see a negative coefficient for the quadratic inequality, I prefer to simplify. So I actually choose to divide by -4. So the only thing is when you choose to divide by -4, please remember to reverse the sign. And you factorize and you are shading the part that is above. So you shade above the k-axis. So it leads you to this second set of answers. This second set of answers come from the discriminant condition. So you got two inequality to combine. So you take a look, you got two inequality to combine. So if you do not combine, of course, you lose the final marks. So how do you combine? You make sure your number line has the essential number. You make sure your number line got 0, got -1, got 4. So that is the common sense thing that you should have. So make sure your number line will have the numbers. So k greater than k negative will be this. And then k less than -1 will be this. K greater than 4 will be this. So from here, you get the double line. The double line is the final answer. Okay, so this one is a quadratic discriminant question that also involve quadratic inequality. But this one has two conditions, so you've got to take note of the two conditions.